I will now show you how to modify what's stored in a structure variable. Let's go again with the same example. We have a structure named student declared, and it has components first name, last name, birth year, and average grade. And now let's write a main program, but this time instead of initializing a variable with values given right away at initialization time, let's have those values read from user input. So all we would do here is declare our variable of type struct student, and this time let's call the variable learner. So now we refer to this variable by the name learner, and I should spell student correctly. But instead of initializing it as we did before by typing equals and then curly braces and all the components, I'm going to this time ask the user to enter these values. So we're going to ask them for a first name and then read that first name with a scanf. And what we're reading is a %s because we're reading a string for the first name. And again, in order to access the first name component, I need to type learner.first name. And that's all there is to it. Remember, for strings, we don't need to put an ampersand in front of a variable name when dealing with scanf. Next, let's say we wanted to read the last name. And again, we would type scanf %s. And again, the variable name is learner and the component is last name. And let's next say we wanted to read the birth year. Scanf, and the birth year is an integer, so we read that with a %d. But for reading an integer, we do need the ampersand. We need the address of the variable, and the variable itself is learner dot called birth year. So basically, we treat learner.birth year, learner.last name, and so forth as a regular variable. And you can scanf into it, you can printf from it, you can treat it as if it were a completely normal variable. Finally, printf average grade. I'll have the user enter that as well, and then a scanf, and that's a double, so we'll type %lf, and again, for a double, we need the ampersand, learner average grade, and we're done. Finally, let's just print out what we just read. And in order to do so, I'm simply going to paste in the code that we wrote in our previous program to print out the name, year of birth, and average grade of a student. Except in that previous program, this variable name was me. Now my variable name is learner. And so I need to replace all those me's with learner. The names of the components haven't changed, so it's still first name, last name, and so forth, and none of that changes. I just have to replace me with my new variable name, learner. And here we go. Now let's compile and run this code. We'll run it step by step. So first, the structure student type variable learner is declared. There it is. But this time, nothing is written into it. It's all zeros because we haven't initialized the variable yet. And again, the initialization with all zeros, that's codecast specific. That doesn't even happen in a regular C compiler. All right, we're asked for the first name and then the scanf. So I need to type in the first name. I'm going to put in my name, Petra. And that was read. If I scroll over here in my memory visualization, I see Petra appearing over here. Next, we're printing out last name and the scanf command appears. So Taylor, and I see that appearing right here in my next memory. And next, we're going to print out year of birth and ask for that. I'm going to make that up again, 1989. And I scroll to the right, here's the 1989 that appeared. And finally, we're printing out average grade and asking for that. Let's give myself a 4.0 this time. And there's the 4 that appears. And next, we're going to print out the name, Petra Taylor, Next, we're going to print out the year of birth, 1989, and the average grade, 4.0. So that's how we modify components of a structure. Again, it'll be best if you start playing around with this right away and familiarize yourself even more with structures.